So very many of my students are obsessively chasing after a distorted vocal sound. I could be guilty of the same, whether it be coming from vulnerability of trying to hide your voice, sound like somebody else, not sound like yourself, or maybe you think you sound too clean, and that's not rock and roll, man. Whatever it might be, a lot of these people have not put in enough hours of trying to study these things in terms of the mechanics of the voice and the fundamentals of how this stuff works. They haven't experimented enough, and they just haven't practiced enough to actually achieve these things in a replicatable and healthy way. So what I am trying to do in today's video is reorient your mind towards compression and understanding how to move into these things instead of it just being this clean voice, distorted voice, clean voice, distorted voice, and having it be this jump back and forth. So will you not join me right now and learn about the things? Okay, let's do it. So compression and mouth shape are the things responsible for creating vocal distortion. So what the hell is compression? What does that mean? That means we're limiting the airflow that's allowed through the vocal tract. We're starting to add a squeeze or a tension that's building pressure, and it's creating the optimal shape in the vocal tract for things to bounce together, rub together, vibrate together to create a distortional sound. Mouth shape then adds on to this by either making it even easier for these things to come together and vibrate or pulling them apart a little bit more and making it harder. You might find sometimes that it's easier to distort something like an ah than it is an e, because e tends to bring things forward and ah tends to move things backward. That would be mouth shape or vowel shape. But I'm trying to reorient your mind towards the physical in terms of paying attention to what's happening in the body. This is how we're building replicatable results. The sonic spectrum of everything you're experiencing is always going to change. You might have sang later in the day, you might sing earlier in the day, you might sing in a different environment, different room, maybe you're singing in the shower. But that is creating a different sonic experience, and you cannot count on that. Professional musicians across the world that have toured know this very, very well, that you cannot count on the sound. It's always going to change. Every stage is drastically different in terms of sound, and you can't count on that. What you can count on is your physical body and the physical muscle memory that you've built by paying attention and becoming aware of these things. So we're going to get into some exercises here that you can use to start understanding how to compress, where you're compressing from, and how that starts to move towards finding distortion. Now, it is important to note that not all distortion and compression is equal. There are different ways to compress the throat. There are different ways to find and use distortion. Not all of them are good for you. Not all of them are the easiest to do. Some are going to wear you out further. Some are going to have the milk jug effect that I describe quite often, where you're like, I got this, and you're going to start losing steam pretty fast, whereas you are convinced that's probably how you do it, and then you're going to start losing track. And that's not something that's advantageous to keep running after. Anyway, as we get into some examples here, I want you to try to follow along. Know that most people, when they first start finding these things, are going to find them rather heavily. They're going to be dealing with almost a dichotomy in terms of here's my one regular voice and here's my distortional voice. That's okay. I still experience that now a lot of times, but that's why I'm trying to teach this across a spectrum for all of us, including myself, so that you practice across a spectrum and start thinking that way instead of thinking, now I'm in a distorted voice, now I'm in a clean voice, now I'm in a distorted voice. We're going to start thinking about this in terms of a layer cake, which is how I usually teach distortion anyway, or compression. We're going to think about here in the lower neck. We're going to think about here in the lower neck. We're going to think about here in the mouth. And we're going to think about here more in the nasal pharynx, nasality, pharyngeal space, whatever you want to think of it as. I usually teach this as ah, and ah. Those different zones and trying to make those sounds are going to help direct you towards where your compression is coming from. And again, if that doesn't happen for you right away, for God's sakes, be gentle on yourself. This is going to take some time. And I've been doing this for a long time. So we have Most people are going to experience compression here first from down in the neck. Just like holding your breath back like this. Now, a lot of people like to teach this stuff as in picking up weights or picking up a desk. I want to try to push your mind towards a little bit more of a specific thing in that we're going to try to act like we're curling weight, so as to say, pulling weight into the body like this with the bicep or whatever the hell you want to say. And then I'm also doing a sit-up at the same time. So I'm pulling the weight into my body like this, and then I'm trying to compress at the same time. So the airflow should be coming from the diaphragm, depending on how much you've studied this. So if I go, hey, like this, I'm going to be trying to pull everything into my body like this. So thinking about building pressure, cultivating that pressure, cultivating all this and holding it in instead of pushing harder and letting everything out of the body. So here, first we're going to do right here. Okay? Makes sense? Then we're going to move on to ah. And we're going to think about that right around here. Ah. Then we're going to think about ah. And we're going to try to be as bitchy and bratty as possible. Now I want you to also think about the sound up here around the soft palate. And you can even make this terrible face. It's important to note that what you're hearing right now is not me trying to move into distortion. I'm literally just moving into compression. I'm literally in just different states of holding back pressure. I'm not actually even thinking about trying to go like this. So now I want you to try to do these things across a little bit more of a spectrum. So we're going to use and we're going to slowly pick up that weight into the body. And again, really think about moving this back and forth from no compression to too much compression, where we literally have a closing of everything. The tube that's coming up through the body is being shut down. Like this. Then we have same thing. And as high up as we can go. So you can see the closer we get to the vocal cords with our compression, the more things are going to build in terms of heat, and the more it's probably going to be unpleasant. And also the higher you go, the more that compression is going to be pulling you back down like an anchor. So the more you can start to learn to compress high, the better off and the more healthy things are going to feel and be. Now, one of the most common things I hear when people are trying to learn this stuff is that they've probably not practiced enough and everything, like I said. So they're typically used to using their speaking register and then just pushing it in various ways, and they know that they usually break when they go to a certain point and break into falsetto or head voice, and that's pretty much all they know. So in their mind, the only thing they can conceivably understand that would distort, or where distortion would come from, is if they take that speaking register and push it harder and harder until something else happens. Just like turning up an amp, it's clean, it's clean, it's clean. Now shit sounds fucked up. That's typically what I hear people do, and that could not be further from the truth. Now I'm going to try to give some just random vocal examples. I haven't warmed up or anything, but I want to give some examples of what some of this distortional stuff might sound like if I kind of take it a little bit higher, a little bit lower, transition to this vowel or this sound or something like that. So have a listen. I believe them bones are me. Some say we're born into the grave. Some say we're born into the grave. I believe them bones are me. I feel so alone. I feel so alone. I feel so alone. I believe the bones are me. Some say we're born into the grave. I feel so alone. So hopefully you can tell there that what creates a more compelling and more expressive voice is not something that jumps from here to here. It's something that builds across the spectrum and something that has the expression and the subtlety of moving into something that's more aggressive and angry or whatever the expression is, and then out of that instead of jumping from one to the other. So in conclusion of all this and trying to wrap all this up, I want to impart some wisdom upon you about my experiences with all this stuff. When you're learning an instrument like guitar, drums, piano, or singing, your brain is trying to send a signal to the muscle groups involved and trying to make sense of what the hell to do and what not to do. When you're first learning these things, that means that a lot of muscle groups are going to get involved because your brain does not know how to tell the very specific individual muscle groups what to do. So again, your experience at first is going to be one of probably too much tension, too much cramping. Again, same thing with drumming, guitar, and piano. You might see somebody play really fast and then they look really loose. That's because they've been doing it a long enough time that their brain can now communicate with what it needs to communicate on a more micro, small level. But at first, it's going to be like this, like if you watch me play. So anyway, keep that in mind. The goal here, even when it comes to most singing, but especially when it comes to distortion, is knowing that that's happening first, and then trying to figure out, what can I relax? How can I relax? We'll say the same thing is easier for drumming. If I'm playing something too fast, or guitar, if I'm playing something too fast, my entire muscle groups here are going to start locking up, and it's going to go up and through my body. So then my job is to slowly figure out how I can reorient back down and then just use smaller muscle groups. Same thing with the voice. So keep that in mind as you practice. Your goal is to find something that kind of works and then see how much you can relax into it over time. And again, this is not going to be found in a week, but it's going to take a little bit of time. If you're not practicing distortion almost every day, it will dissipate a little bit, and then when you jump back into it, it'll be a little bit harder to find. It'll be a little bit harder to warm up these muscle groups or these distortional spaces, and then you might start pushing it harder because you're pissed off and it's not working well. Give this some time and know that if you take a break, you're going to have to work your way back into it. Sometimes 15 minutes is all you need. You need to just kind of warm it up or whatever, get your pissed off, then go get yourself a beverage, make a sandwich, and then come back and try again. Sometimes it's literally just better to try it again the next day. Many touring musicians that have to distort and scream their voices and all this kind of different stuff will let you know that the first show is usually a little bit more of a forced thing and it's not working as well. Then the next day, oh yeah, it works a little bit better. This has to do with swelling in good and bad ways, but again, it's just remembering to not force things, especially for the men out there, that if you keep forcing things, you're pretty much just making things worse. If you force enough, you will end up finding distortional sounds and things that work, but you have probably entered into a place where you're dealing with negative or bad swelling. So your voice is kind of just given up. Things are just moving out of the way because they're pissed off and inflamed. So keep that in mind as well. It is not advantageous to chase after something like 3 hours of warming up to be like, yeah, now it's working. That is part of your fucking neck giving up. Your neck is giving up, and then you're just able to do what you need to do. Lastly, I like to try to impart this as well. Since I struggled with finding distortion consistently for many, many, many years, I was convinced that I was not strong enough to do it, that I needed to build stronger muscles and that these people must be stronger than me. That is not true. I got the chance to go meet with a whole bunch of amazing voice actors in California a long time ago, including Tom Kenny and this guy named D. Bradley Baker, who makes all these crazy Star Wars monster noises and shit like that. I was convinced and had to ask him twice, when you find these distortional sounds, this is how I actually talk to people, because I'm introverted and shy. Anyway, the point he let me know, when I was convinced that I needed to build strength, he was like, no, you just need to find the right space, and then you just keep doing it over and over again. Yeah, but, and then he confirmed with me again. Point being, elasticity and stretchiness, understanding how to balance is almost always better than building strength. You are going to build strength, but you're going to build strength in a coordination. It's very similar to learning how to walk across a balance beam or maybe a tightrope. It takes strength, yes. And it will get stronger as you learn how to do it, but you're actually learning how to balance and coordinate yourself across that balance beam, and that's more important. Stretchiness, especially as you get older, is going to be more important to you than strength. So keep that in mind. Be gentle on yourself in this journey. I will see you soon. Hey, if you like this video, please do subscribe. I would appreciate that. It would help me out a lot. If you want some help with your voice, you want to be in a community with other singers and share your clips and share problems you're having, you can join me on Patreon. I have a monthly tier where I will give you feedback on a monthly basis. I have a weekly tier where you can text me and get help with all your questions and things like that. And then I also, of course, give lessons. I've been teaching for 15 years. So if you want to support me, you want more videos like this, you want more exclusive content, consider finding me on Patreon. Sterling R. Jackson. I will see you soon.